Separately, Donald Trump says he tries to pay as little as possible in taxes. And you would think he were Ebenezer Scrooge. He might be many, many things. But first of all, Ebenezer Scrooge did not look remotely like Donald Trump, if you think about it. We'll have more after this. All right, I want to update you. I mentioned Puerto Rico is technically now insolvent. It defaulted on a debt, and that's a big uh-oh. I know it gets a little arcane here. Suffice it to say that the ratings agencies like Moody's come out with a statement that views the Puerto Rican non-payment of this crucial debt, about $58 million. It was an electric authority payment that was due, as a full debt service default. In other words, there's no gray here. To Moody's and a ratings agency, that's a no-no. You don't do that. You're technically in default, which also means that Moody's is greasing the skids for a downgrade, a credit downgrade, that would likely put Puerto Rican debt at virtually junk bond status. I'm not saying they've done that yet. That's normally the course of events. That Puerto Rico, already with better than $80 billion in debts that can't be paid, would fall into essentially junk bond status if it comes to pass. Now take a look at this.
What's your guess on your percentage of income that's paid in taxes?
I pay as little as possible. I fight like hell to pay as little as possible for two reasons. Number one, I'm a businessman, and that's the way you're supposed to do it, and you put the money back into your company and employees and all of that. But the other reason is that I hate the way our government spends our taxes.
All right, that is Donald Trump's way of saying it. It sounded, like I said, like Ebenezer Scrooge here. I pay as little as possible. And by the way, I might point out, for a lot of people say that, liberals and those on the left, espouse the government and everything. When they have the option in states like Massachusetts, others, for all I know, might provide that, where you could put in a line, you want to pay any extra taxes. Very few do that. So he's just being honest here. Now, you can accept or reject Donald Trump as a candidate, but it's that message that appears to be resonating, despite the play it's gotten in the media, that he's some sort of a selfish Scrooge. We got Lisa Booth here, Sherry Jacobus. Sherry, what he was saying is, look, I'm a businessman. If I can find a way to pay less in taxes legally, I will.
Yeah.
And that's all he's saying. What do you think of it?
Well, I think everybody that heard him say that says, I want Donald Trump to do my taxes. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Every businessman wants to pay as little as possible. And we do see, first of all, it's good business. Secondly, we do see how the government is wasting our money. We saw what Obamacare has done to businesses as well as individuals. We've seen the wasted stimulus package. And it sounds like a smart businessman. Now, that doesn't mean that other candidates can't say the same thing. But this is probably the one case where being a businessman as opposed to somebody who's held office can pay off.
But, I always wonder if Mitt Romney had taken that stance in explaining his taxes. First of all, he had a passive income that he'd already paid full taxes on, and then it was taxed at the capital gains rate, or the dividend rate, and he never embraced it or explained it, so people thought he was getting away with something. Donald Trump is saying, no, I'm going to grab this bull by the horn and say, I don't like paying taxes. I go for the lowest rate I can get, right?
Right. Well, and Mitt Romney probably should have been a little bit more upfront and taken the issue head on, because that's what you recommend in politics.
He was afraid of his wealth. Donald Trump is not.
Well, Donald Trump, I don't think, is afraid of anything. But I say amen to this. He's absolutely right. Look, the federal government spends too much, taxes too much, and regulates too much. And I think that's what he's hitting on here. And look, to Sherry's point, the government is spending too much, and it's really happening under President Obama. But
he's not really making a philosophical debate about this. He is saying, look, if I had my druthers, I'd pay less in taxes, where the others, when they come out with their statements or tax returns, they brag about, I almost paid at the top rate. Someone like Donald Trump is saying, well, you're a fool if you did.
Exactly.
Right?
And you've got the United States has the highest corporate tax rate of anybody when you average in the state taxes on top of that. So it's a good business to want to pay as little as possible.
But can you have a president saying, I try to weasel out of this?
He's not saying he's trying to weasel out of it.
I know, but you know how it's going to be portrayed.
No, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking if a guy like that is thinking fiscally responsibly, I don't necessarily have Donald Trump at the top of my list, but I like that about him. I was thinking, maybe he could be a good Secretary of Treasury.
Well, and here, look, too, Donald Trump is a business guy. Look, businesses have been pummeled under the Obama economy. They've been hit with higher taxes, higher regulations, and the government is spending too much. As Sherry pointed out, look, we've had the over $800 billion stimulus, which failed to produce the jobs that President Obama promised. His failed green jobs agenda with what we got with Solyndra, right? And not to mention the health care law, $2 trillion over the next decade, which has failed to really reduce prices in the way that President Obama
promised. So Donald Trump is saying
us.
what people are thinking and feeling.
Absolutely, what we're all thinking. And in contrast,
but I don't,
to
unlike you, I don't see him as some passing fad here.
Well, I think he's driving the debate right now. It's still pretty early, if nothing else.
Right.
He's talking about the issues that I think the other candidates will be talking about too, including Hillary Clinton. She's going to have to.
Yeah, it's including
it's very
right
early.
Very, very early.
Very
I grant you.
early.
Ladies, thank you both very much. All right, we told you we've got, about 52, 53 days to decide on this Iranian deal, yay or nay. Here's the deal, though, ahead of this big briefing that they're planning at the top of the next hour at 5 p.m. A lot of folks are saying, you know what, you've changed the deal. There are side deals. There are things that we didn't know exist. Start the clock again. We want to see the side deals. We want to know what's in those side deals, and then move it 60 days from then. You see where this is going? So does Senator Tom Cotton, who's very much against this and very much the secretiveness around this after this.